and certificate of deposit account range.
Possession of the strike.
Lachie here with my first impressions on the F1 Strike V3. Over the weekend, I had the V3 out in the water in around 15 to 20 knots. I swapped between using the V2 Strike and the V3 Strike, both being the 5.5 meter version. I've been riding the V2 pretty much since they landed in Australia, and will be basing most of my judgment on my experience with the V2. In saying that, I've also ridden the duotone unit and slick and the Enter's score, so I have some experience with wings with solid handles and booms. I think the easiest way to discuss the new Strike V3 is to compare similarities and differences from the V2 Strike, whilst also looking at advantages and disadvantages relative to the current generation of wings on the market and the current trend with wings at the moment. So firstly, the comparison with the Strike V2. The moment I jumped on the V3, I was surprised by the power difference between the two wings, to the point that when I jumped back on the V2, I was struggling to pump back on foil because I'd gotten used to putting in less effort on the V3. The V3 definitely has a shorter cadence of pumping, as overall the wing is a lot more rigid than the V2. It reacts well to short, sharp pumps and will get you on the foil in no time. The next point was the power availability. The Strike V3 really reminds me of the duotone unit and the slick SLS. It has so much power available, which means you can really crank up wind. The downside of this is you can get greedy and burn your arms out pretty quickly too. I think the rigidity of this wing is actually really advantageous, as you have the ability to tune the power levels of your wing by deflating by half a PSI or 1 PSI below the recommended to sacrifice some power for a more forgiving ride. Then, as you adapt to the higher efficiency and power levels, you can fully inflate the wing and get the most out of it. The next major difference is the super rigid, soft handles. I think F1 nailed this. I'm a big fan of the rigid handles and really enjoyed the duotone unit and slick for this reason. Having the ability to throw the wing around with maximum leverage was really fun and something I missed a bit whilst riding the Strike V2. The consequences with rigid hard handles, though, is the weight cost. Every wing I've ridden with hard handles could not flag out like the F1 Strike wings, and just felt heavy to push through maneuvers, especially light to medium wing jibes. This is most likely due to the extra weight being so far from the front handle that you use to flag the wing out. The extra swing weight produced from the handles was too significant for me personally to ride a wing with solid handles. The Strike V3 has nailed the gap between hard and soft handles. I love that I could get similar maneuverability to the hard handles without the extra weight and risk of damaging my board. Overall, F1 has killed it with this wing. The V3 feels a little bit heavier than the V2, but maintains the ease of use that I loved with the V2. The benefits of maneuverability with the reinforced handles and the insane power makes this my new favourite wing by far. I think the trend with the wing market at the moment is rigid handles, and I just think that it's worth testing out the Strike V3 and experiencing it for yourself. The other trend I'm seeing is the effect of the downwind sup foiling side, with the narrow, long boards enabling ultra-light wind winging. The efficiency and power of the Strike V3 would actually pair really well with one of these boards, and it sort of blows my mind to think about the size of wing you could get away with in light winds. That's about it for me. I highly recommend testing out the Strike V3 for yourself and experiencing the power. Can't wait to put more hours on the water with this awesome wing.